Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever the fuck you're listening to this podcast. It's a really good one with BrandonBattick. He is a comedian, musician, and podcaster himself, but don't hold it against him. His podcast is called Disturbing the Priest, and he's interviewed all sorts of metal bands from here, Europe, everywhere, man. It's really fucking cool, and check it out. We chat about everything from comedic influences to just him getting into metal in general, which I was introduced at a young age, and he didn't discover it until he started working radio in college. He's a really cool guy, and it's a really cool talk. We could have gone for several more hours, but then he realized the gun that I was holding him hostage with was a water gun. No, he had to pee, and I figured after an hour and 40 minutes I should let him get back to his life, but we could have gone a few more hours. We were really riffing pretty good. I'm excited to share this with you, and oh yeah, we have a bright new beautiful logo that I am so proud of and I love. Thank you AI and Eddie, my friend, for helping me edit it down. It is a blimp, and I can project it onto any skyline in the world. And so that really helps my ADD, so I can change it like every 3 episodes if I feel like. What else? I ordered some new coffee mugs with the new logo you will be able to purchase. First, I've got to get these test ones in, make sure they're all lined up right, or they will haunt me for the rest of my life. I'm glad I didn't order too many of them. The first time I ordered I wanted to order like 300. Thank God Jordan stopped me. I ordered 50. Did not sell 50, let me tell you. But I'm excited. Life is beautiful, and I'm cooking up a little something. I'm not going to say I'm moving in silence. I'm moving very loudly, but there is something I am putting together that I am very proud and excited to share with you. But for now, you have this podcast. I love you. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I've listened to like a few episodes, and I was like, was this recorded with like a DS or something?
No, yeah, it's on an iPhone and a Honda Civic, and or the most sophisticated is with the camera, which had its own problems because it was usually 20 feet away from the room, because that's my sweet spot. I like images of me from like 10 to 15 feet away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's really where I shine, and it's like when you're on stage, shit like that, you're up and away from them, so they look up to you like a god, because you know what I'm saying? You don't want to get too close to your idols. But
if I'm 50 feet away, I'm a 7.
Oh, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just because we see ourselves as, you see yourself as the ugliest as anyone will see you, because you're up in the mirror like this, looking at every blemish and popping it and seeing, and you see yourself shit every day, and that's kind of the most disgusting thing. You know what I mean? Like,
it's terrible.
If you're on a date with someone, like, you're just avoiding farting at all costs so they don't associate you with shit. Like, honestly, no. I remember I hung out with a girl.
Do you have IBS or something?
No, nothing too bad. There was a time to sustain myself off protein shakes, beer, and that was pretty much it. So it's just a very gassy thing.
That is quite a cocktail.
Yeah, and I remember I went to a barbecue spot with a girl. I farted in front of her, and she was like, "No, it's fine. It's totally cool. Like, I'm glad you did that because it was funny." And then never talked again.
She was glad you did it?
No,
so
Joe,
what was the context?
Cool in person, but like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's
so you were talking and you just farted, and were you like, "I'm so fucking sorry"?
Yeah, I think it's kind of being ashamed of it after. If you like go with it, it's probably better off. But
that happens to me. Like I was at like a girl's house, and like I feel like things were like going well, you know. Yeah. And she was on the floor sitting.
Yes.
And I sat next to her, and the second I sat, I just ripped. And I just did the thing where it's like I was a whoopee cushion.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the second I sat, I just farted. It just came out of me. Like the pressure of sitting down, you know, and I just didn't say anything. But I'm like, she totally heard it.
Yeah, and it's the most involuntary thing. Like, she's like, "Oh, he's so mysterious. He like leaves randomly." It's, I got his shit, lady, and we are not on the level of me shitting at your house.
The timer is on right now. God. Yeah. Dude, I've had that happen bad. I've had that happen while driving. Where you know, like Holly Johnston, we were, and Stevie Collins, we were all carpooling to a mic.
Yeah.
And I guess I ate something terrible at the mic.
Dude, it'll just turn your stomach.
Yeah, man. It was like these chicken fingers. And I chose chicken fingers because those
safe
are
safe. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? So we're driving, and it hits me, and I go, "All right, you need to find a bathroom." You know,
ASAP.
And the clock starts. The time gets getting cut in half. So I'm like, all right, we gotta find something. So
yeah, because it comes in waves. It's like first you're like, I can hold out for an hour, or I can hold out till I get home. And then it's like, okay, we need to get to this bar so I can use this shitty public restroom with no lock on the door. And then it's like, we need to pull over, and you have a bucket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so it's bad, man. And I'm like, just please find a rest stop. So she finds one, gets off the highway, and she sees it, and she thinks she's pulling into the rest stop, but she's pulling onto an on-ramp.
Oh my god.
So I said, fuck it, stop the car, you know? She stops the car on the on-ramp, and I jump the guardrail. And it's that, and it's, I see it so far away, but dude. I see the stop. The rest stop, and it's like that Louis C.K. bit, because I want to run, but you don't want to bounce it out.
Exactly, because I'm saying sprinting, like as soon as you shake it up, it's anyone's game. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't want to add that. So now it's the slow run,
it's
holding
the
your
stride,
pants. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Maximum
distance,
just
absolutely
shake.
Just lost 20 pounds in 2 seconds.
That was always my thought. I got pulled over twice in the last week. Actually, I got off both times. Thank God. It was St. Patrick's Day. You know what I'm saying? They're just out to get everybody. But that was always my thought. Like, if I'm speeding really fast and they pull me over, I'm like, I have to shit, dude. Like, really bad. I'd love to see a cop's reaction in that moment if they're going to be like, I don't give a shit. Or if they're like, I get it. I understand. You're a human being. And we're going to let you. You know what I'm saying? Like, get to the rest stop. We'll talk there. Take your shit.
Yeah.
I mean, then people could flush drugs. I guess someone would take advantage of that kindness. But it's really just like a hypothetical that, I don't know, it's never actually happened.
You just have to. I know Al Christos that happened to him, and he got pulled over, and he's like,
shit.
Yeah, and the cop's like, you know why I pulled you over? And he's like, I just shat my pants.
Yeah, fully committed right there.
When you get pulled over, you just have to just shit your pants.
Yeah, it's like fully that's why I was speeding. What's your excuse? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He's like, well, I have all the time in the world now. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And now I'm sitting in my own shit. Also, if you carry an extra pair of underwear and pants in your car, there's a story there. There's a reason you do it.
Yeah,
that's usually it. You know what I'm saying?
I have. I do have that.
No, for me it was socks because I was catering, and if you're catering in the rain and your feet get wet, you get that World War I trench foot, dude.
That is the worst,
oh my gosh, man! And you're rubbing around in your boots, and it's just rubbing away the skin. It's amazing how fragile we are as human beings. It's just
you're like rotting. Your feet are rotting.
You're
decaying. So and just the feeling. Like, not even the trench foot, but I hate wet jeans.
Oh my God.
Autism, hate the touch of something.
Oh yeah, that I like that you mentioned it as autism, because I had something like that when I was really young. I would only write with pens. I hated the sound of a pencil scraping against paper, dude.
Oh yeah,
that's probably my biggest one. That was like, all right, guys, we're diagnosing something.
Yeah. Someone's diagnosed that. I feel that with Sharpies on paper.
Oh yeah, it's like a scraping. It sounds like almost nails on a chalkboard, dude.
Yeah. Like a Sharpie or an Expo marker on computer paper. I think is
agony.
Hell.
It's just bad. And speaking of loud intrusive noise, you have a very cool podcast about loud, crazy noise.
I ever introduce
We did not
myself?
introduce Brandon Battick. We just went thank you for the mixer to. You want to just tell the 4 listeners of this podcast about yourself and what you're on? Yeah,
I'm Brandon Battick. I'm an alcoholic.
God bless.
And I have a podcast, Disturbing the Priest.
Yeah, very.
It's like comedians, metal. I haven't had really any comedians on anymore, just because it's. Well, I'm trying to find a good balance between, because I get so many metal guys on. And my audience is all metalheads.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I have a comic on, they're like, "Who's this fucking asshole?"
Yeah, but that's what I like about it is you really have your niche there. You know what I'm saying? You're into metal. You have the look. It's what you like. You go to the shows, and you've got you got the dude from fucking Pentagram on your podcast. You've got some really big. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You've got the serious things, and I kind of envy that, because my podcast is literally okay, who is willing to speak to me and can hold together? You know what I'm saying? And also there's a lot of people, because you'll have that random coworker that's like, yo, dude, we got good banter. I want to be on it. And then you pull up and they put on an act, because you just got to be yourself. That's all anything is
exactly, man. Yeah. And that's and dude, I've had that happen where in college, I had people hit me up and they're like, yo, I like your podcast. And they're like, yo, because I went to school for radio.
Oh, dude,
so I have a lot of friends who are in that world, who work for iHeart and stuff. and which I used to actually work for iHeart.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know you went for radio. This podcast makes a lot more sense than my podcast. You've got this down. I was like, oh, he's got a mixer and microphones. Shit, dude. That's the college experience.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, you fucking audio hack.
Production value.
Yeah, dude. I'm just like super, and like that's the thing. Like my camera, I just got a camera. I used to use like an iPhone to record my podcast, which it was just so shit quality.
I loved it so much though.
Yeah, it's very like basement podcast quality.
Or it's just like when you first start out in comedy, because you're a comedian as well. You successful podcast and you're a comedian.
Yeah, that's another thing.
It's like when you hear like the terrible joke from like one of your first few tapes and you're like, how'd that work? And you're just like, it's never going to be that easy again.
Dude, I can't even look back at some like my old shit anymore.
It's the ultimate act of self-love, is being able to look at it and not cringe, because it takes a while to get there, dude.
Yeah, but it's terrifying because every year I look back at the year before and go, I was such a fucking hack.
Yeah.
And then it's happened for like I've been doing it like a little over 3 years. Yeah. And after 3 years, I'm going, am I a hack right now then?
No, yeah. It's, well, it's actually, that's better though, because you're showing progress, and I've done it exactly 3 years as well. And I'm looking at those sets back when I used to drink and shit. I was like, that dude's so much funnier than me. I'm like, God damn it, I'm going backwards.
I was a one-hit wonder at an open mic.
Yeah, I'm trying to be the hack now. Like, it's like the hack is invading. Yeah. I was like, that Johnny Walker fueled rant about abortions is better than anything I've written in years, dude.
That would murder at Rick's.
Oh my God, Rick's
that was a
R.I.P. Rick's, man.
It's an open mic. It was actually where I started.
That was your first one?
At Rick's?
No, I started a random one in East Providence. It was the same guy that hosted Rick's, though, that ran it.
Corey?
Actually, I have it on tape. Yeah, Corey was hosting.
Corey Mayo.
Yeah, it was in East Providence, and from there, a guy told me about a skew, which was the big one that I would go to a lot.
Good riddance.
Yeah.
Terrible open mic.
Dude, only time that I got paid for comedy was hosting that, bro, and you would not want to host a skew to save your 45 comedians consecutively.
I don't like hosting. Mm-hmm. I've turned down a club spot before.
Yeah.
Just so I don't have to host. Exactly. I hate hosting more than anything. Mm-hmm. And I can't fucking imagine hosting a skew where every comic is like hates comedy there.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter how much you love comedy, the second you walk through that door, you realize it is the worst thing in the world.
Oh yeah.
No one there is enjoying themselves. Everyone's at the bar, everyone's drinking. Mm-hmm. You hate if there's any comedians actually watching, because that means you're performing and you're seeing the most miserable fucking faces of all time watching it.
And you can hear a needle drop. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the best one. And then you try to crowd. Oh my God.
It was a mistake, man. Because like I would like when I was living in Holliston, I would like be like, okay, I'm gonna do this joke in like Worcester, and then Boston, and then Providence. Yeah, you know, to see and it do good in Worcester,
to get the different angles.
And then in Boston, I'd be like, okay, I got to tweak some things, and then I do it at a skew, and I'm like, oh, so it's terrible. I get it. It's the worst thing to try.
Like
jokes there.
It's hateful hipster comedy. It's like literally, it's super. Like you can drop your pronoun jokes a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of stuff is what you would be able to do there. You know what I'm saying? And it's not. It doesn't feel free. Things shouldn't be. I shouldn't go up there with a tight asshole. I'm supposed to be like relaxed. We keep coming back to shit and assholes.
I know it's two guys. You know, of course we're just going to talk about shit the whole time.
Yeah, but
that's the thing, man. Like with the skew, and I really had issues with. You know, I'm not going to mention the host's name, not you, but like the person running it,
like the ongoing.
But they had this rule where you couldn't say the N-word, and then and if you're black, even which even like listen, I get that rule, and I think that's a good rule.
Yeah, it's at most.
But if you're black, man, and you're some like fucking white chick.
I was trying to do a bit about this actually.
That you can't use
a white woman telling a black man what to say. You get up there, you dance the way I tell you to dance, boy. And I tried to do a bit about it. I get exactly what you're saying.
It's ridiculous, man. And it's like
the fact they wouldn't even say N-word. They said it was the 2G. Like you can't say either word with 2 G's in it. And I'm just so confused just sitting there, and it's just like, and then.
It was so bad, man. It was so terrible.
What's your favorite open mic? Have you gone to Kinsman here in Bristol on Fridays?
Yeah, dude. It's like 2 blocks from here.
Dude. It's fucking.
That's
they get a
nice.
crowd sometimes. Jack runs that. Or John Imperator? Yeah, John, not
John
Jack.
Imperator, who's a friend of the podcast.
Oh, yeah, he's been on the podcast. Shout out Jack Titty.
Yeah, I know your lore.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Oh, don't get too deep.
Yes.
I don't remember those sets at Rick's either because those were my drinking days, and it's a good time. It was fun
maybe you have
stuff,
to get back into the drinking.
Oh, yeah, dude.
As it seems.
What?
Because you were saying, isn't the early Rick's days? You were saying that was my golden.
That was my that was my peak. Yeah, it's
your peak.
My peak. Because being 29 and like having severe back pain. Dude, I'm just not feeling pain.
Yeah. So what do you do outside this podcast? You're like
I'm a government contractor.
Really?
Yeah.
So what are you like doing?
I sit and I read books.
Damn.
And I wait for things to break and I fix them. And all this is confidential. It's going to have to be a prolonged beep. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. I did do
I actually do have a friend who works for like the Pentagon.
Oh yeah, dude.
So
like
funny.
I have a couple too, but also I did like I had a good 5 minutes I recorded recently, but half of it was like talking shit about people at work, and like I can't explain anything that happens at work because it's confidential and
yeah.
Blah,
is
blah,
it
blah,
actually like if I'm not asking you to reveal it? But if it wasn't confidential anymore, is it anything even exciting? It's probably just
nothing
boring.
Exciting. Yeah. But I've been told that China would pay millions of dollars to know like one of these dumb things. And that's literally it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I have to fill out a form if I want to travel internationally now, and it feels like It feels like I'm a free prisoner, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you had a catering job, like you would get like I would sleep or miss work, and they would like, oh, it's just like he's not there. If you miss a day of work on the base, they're like, are you alive?
Yeah.
Where are you with our secrets? You belong to us.
You could potentially give China millions or get millions from China. So if something ever happens, if you're a criminal to the if you're a enemy of the state, just flee to China, get a few million, buy all the manga in the world.
Live like a king, dog.
Yeah.
Like it's
sushi
so
for days, hot pot for
I went to
days.
Japan for like a month, before I started working here. Yeah, it was so fun.
Are you into anime at all?
You could tell.
I just got into it.
Yeah, you fuck with it? What got you into anime?
Evangelion is what got me into it.
Neon Genesis.
Yeah.
That's a pretty deep one, you know what I'm saying? It's also very like...
I'm a big Godzilla fan. I literally have, as you can see, a shelf behind me of like a lot of Godzilla movies.
I enjoy large monster destroying cities, a nice genre. I think that's like...
kaiju movies,
you know what I'm saying? Like just... Because it reminds us how frivolous life is. You know what I'm saying? Like, people talk about, like, I live in New York, so I'm reminded I'm not the main character constantly. You know what I'm saying? It's just like... And Neon Genesis, dude, Shinji was going through some shit.
Shinji, man.
Oh, yeah. My producer, or my best friend, Jordan, that helped me start this podcast, it was his Honda Civic we recorded, and he was wicked obsessed with that thing. Yeah, and remember, actually, this chain I'm wearing right now is a knockoff from it. You put like 3 arms and legs on it, but like, have you gotten to the end of it? And it's literally like the fucking that what's her name gives to him like before
the end of I've watched the movie. There's a ton of movies after I got to check out.
Yeah, and that's the only anime you've ever seen?
No. Okay, so I just started. I just got into it. So I saw Neon Genesis and loved it. The animation was great. And then I watched End of Evangelion and was like, well, I'm depressed.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what it does for you.
So good, man.
Well, like the crazy like nightmare overstimulation state where he gets in and there's like fucking crayon drawings and all that shit, bro. It's so fucking crazy.
Yeah. And it's crazy because it's like the show. I guess they run out of budget for the ending. So the last 2 episodes are like the most like weird, introspective of just the characters being like, I'm depressed.
Yeah, you have to go psychological. When the budget runs out, you need to dive into the mind.
Like, and it's like, let's just play a ton of shots from the show and just have the character be like, my life fucking sucks.
And of
for
course,
20 minutes.
Yeah, and then Shinji fantasizes about banging every girl in the show. That's also...
All right, I guess let's... Well, I guess I should say spoiler.
Yeah,
because maybe it's
dude. It's from the '90s. Everyone's supposed to have seen that. And I feel like
what we've said so far is so cryptic.
Yeah, it's like.
But I'll try not to spoil anything else. But yeah, the ending's just like. But then the movie, because there was such a backlash, and they got the budget. So whatever the guy's name, Asaro or whatever, made the movie, and it's fucking incredible. It's like very Lynchian and art house.
Yeah. So. Are you a big Lynch fan, actually?
I'm a massive David Lynch fan.
Yeah, because I could, like, when he died, I was like, oh, I didn't know too much about this dude. And then I was binge watching Louis, actually. I got all the Louis DVDs.
Yeah, dude, that's a great episode.
Back to back. Yeah, his, like, 3 episodes where David Lynch is coaching him is actually some of the best shit ever, dude. It was good. It was, like, right around when he died. R.I.P. Lynch.
Yeah, fuck, man. Dude. Lynch was the man. He was, like... So he went to college, and it took Eraserhead. He started in college.
Yeah.
It took him. Do you know what Eraserhead is? It's his first film.
They said it was his most spiritual one. I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
it does say, in an interview he said that.
But also, you love the college projects because we all have that one screenplay in our brain that's haunting us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like people that get out and do that, and they're like, no, I need to make this. No, I need to make this. And like...
That's what he did, but he made this. He wrote the script, and they didn't fund, and the school didn't fund it. And one of the professors said, "I will quit if this doesn't get funded."
Fuck yeah, dude!
So it gets funded, and it took 6 years for that film to be shot because they would keep hitting a budget.
Yep.
And it took 6 years. And the main character, Henry, I have the 4K right here, actually.
Oh yeah.
The main character here, who has
looks like
his name's Henry, has like it's like weird spiky hairdo.
Yeah,
it's like fro. He kept that hair for 6 years.
Dude, that's fucking nuts.
So because the movie it kept being delayed,
and
you know.
Since they were posting
That's an
all
actor,
of his,
man.
Yeah, they were posting all of his interviews. Method acting's huge, but they were posting all of his interviews. And my favorite interview I saw with David Lynch was actually he was in a meeting with a bunch of people, and they said we need to film this by Tuesday, and he just flips the fuck out and says, "Don't give me a time constraint. This is not how art is fucking made. We were only allowed in the firehouse for a day. I could have filmed there for 2 months. We could have done so much with that fucking firehouse." It's just like having like the, you know what I'm saying? Being like, I want to drink this in, and I want to live life. This is
art life.
Oh, yeah. Dude, you're pouring your life force into it, or it's nothing.
Yeah, man. He was the man. He was a crazy person, though. He was an absolute crazy person. What he did. There's a video of him online. I don't know what the fuck the context is, but he just eats panties. He just eats a whole
pennies
thing.
Or panties? Panties?
Like
okay, well, that's not as weird as pennies. But yeah.
Both very weird.
Both very weird.
Pennies
like,
would be fucking
he could
weird,
get on
though.
my jurisdiction for that, like exclusive. You know what I'm saying?
That must exist, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well,
someone addicted to eating change. But he shoves pink panties.
Used?
I don't know.
I think it's less weird if they're fresh. I mean, no, it's less weird if they're used. It's weird if they're know. It's weird if he's just going out buying panties to eat them.
I don't even have an opinion on that.
You don't have an opinion on that?
I don't know how to assess that.
Well, maybe it's because I went to Japan and they actually have vending
because you went to they have broadens the mind.
No, they have vending machines of women's panties there. So I think David Lynch would have
actually.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Oh, they have vending machines for everything. You can get a hot cup of coffee in a can from a vending machine.
That's crazy. That's cool.
Dude. But it's all like, you know what I'm saying? They have their own brand of Gatorade. It's I recommend it 1,000,000%. They love metal out there, too. So you could probably get some fucking cool shit out
for sure, man. I'd love to go to Japan. I really would. But David Lynch, this one time he convinced a vet, I don't know, there's more to this, but he convinced a vet to give him a dead cat. And this is while he was... This is while he was filming Eraserhead.
Give me the dead guy.
And so the guy, he was talking, he was like, what the fuck, why? And he's like, well, I cut it open. And he's like, I cut it open, and there was so many amazing colors in the dead cat.
It's like Da Vinci would cut over cadavers to get... No, it was Michelangelo cut open the cadavers to get, like, physiology. But but David Lynch filmed it.
But he's doing it with dead cats. And he cut the cat open, and then he's like, and then I put it in tar. And then I put the cat in tar in a well. And then a year later, I got the tar back, and I opened it up, and it, like, gave birth. The tar gave birth to the dead cat, and it was amazing. Dude. And then, so I had that story in my head, and I'm like, that's fucked. And then Lynch died, and I rewatched Eraserhead.
Yeah.
And then there was on this I have a 4K Criterion DVD, and it came with deleted scenes. And there was one deleted scene. I'm like, all right, what is it?
Yep.
And it's a still shot of a sidewalk of a dead cat.
And I'm like, there it is! That is my life right
That's
there.
the dead
cat
cat
on the side of the fucking road. But you have DVDs, as I've said, and I really love physical media, and I think you talk to a lot of people in bands, and I think streaming's the worst thing that's ever happened to music.
Really?
1,000%. No, really, because previously it was vinyl. You buy a vinyl, it starts skipping, you buy another one, and every time you buy that and you support them, it's money going directly to the artist as opposed to being monetized. Yeah. And I understood the innovations as they went, like cassettes over vinyls because cassettes can be played in your car. Then CDs over cassettes because do you collect cassettes?
Oh yeah, I have everything.
Yeah, I had a little phase. I collect everything too, but I had a little phase with cassettes, and then they started exploding, and you got to fucking get a number 2 pencil and like put them back together,
wind
like
it back in.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm done with cassettes. So I understood moving on from those to CDs. Oh, excuse me, and then even after that, iTunes, when you could actually buy the album on iTunes. You know what I'm saying? It's not owning a physical, but it still feels...
You're still giving $10 to...
Exactly. And now it's just a corporation that says, you could put your stuff on our thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's just like... I know people that would actually like say, hey, you can be on my podcast. You got to pay me, though. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I could get you exposure. Like, I've seen people doing those. It's crazy. Yeah. I'm just grateful to talk to people that I find interesting. But.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I think it's a double-edged sword 100%. Because, like, I totally get where you're coming from, and I agree with everything you just said.
And also, you can't sign a stream. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have a signed CD from a guy named Jimmy Brown that I went out and did a podcast
Jimmy Brown?
with. You ever heard of him?
No.
Jim E. Brown. Oh, my God. He does, like...
His middle initials E?
Yeah.
That's
Brown.
hilarious.
And he claims to be a 19-year-old, but he's, like, 30-something.
What?
And he does, like... Oh, dude. You could pull it up on it, but we're not doing a reaction thing. But I'll
look it up.
Yeah, his shit is fire. He does like kind of post-punk shit. You know what I'm saying? It's really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
I went there, saw him live, bought a CD. He signed the CD. He did my podcast. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole experience there. But like getting physical media, getting it signed and shit, it's just cool.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. And I like you see the vinyl I have, and that's just slimmer.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like sliver, I think. I don't know what the word is. Yeah, percentage. I have on disc. Do you have Discogs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my median is like, oh god,
I'm creeping. I'm at least 250 vinyls right now.
250?
Yeah, give or take. I don't have them listed on Discogs. Like basically, so my dream would be. Did you ever go to the Upside Bar down the street? It was in Warren for a little while. It was like an Upside Bar and vinyl record store.
Yeah,
they did the open mics on Wednesdays. Favorite place I've ever done comedy.
Did they? There?
Yeah, they shut it down.
Oh, that's awesome.
One of the like investors pulled out or some bullshit.
God damn.
There was a dude living in there, and they foreclosed the building, so the dude got locked in there. That shit's crazy, right? It's fucking nuts, but it's still they had a theater upstairs. There was gonna be something nuts.
Whoa, all right.
Whoa.
We gotta. He got locked in the store.
Yeah.
And how long was he in there?
I think, well, you have to break out. Like,
so he broke out right away?
Yeah, I don't know the exact details.
Crazy.
But they're like, bro got locked in there, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's a scary movie making. Like, I'm locked in a record store / bar.
There's several movies about that, yeah.
And he couldn't have taken, like, also you're breaking out, and, like, they have a bunch of, there's, like, thousands of records in there still, and I was like, I wonder if they're all warped from the sun. I wonder if, like, they're foreclosing and
they
sell them
should.
wholesale.
They're probably all right. Some of them might be warped.
Yeah.
But I have about 780 records.
Fuck, dude.
I work at a record store.
Oh, nice. Which one?
I used to. I'm on and off at this record store. Whenever I'm in the area, I'm working there. Yeah.
I show up, I take records, and I take money.
Yeah. I do shifts occasionally. And it's the Nevermind shop in Upton, Massachusetts.
Nice. I'll have to check it out sometime.
Great store.
Yeah.
There's another one, Crystal Ball Records in Bellingham.
That's they just opened recently, didn't they?
Yeah. I'm really good friends with Vanny, the owner.
Yeah.
The two of us actually used to work at Nevermind shop together.
There we go.
Until I was like, yo, you should do your own thing. You know?
Exactly. Well, yeah.
So not to,
I might have. Well, also, you're doing a favor for someone, kind of saying, hey, man, you could do this by yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's like, 100%. You don't have to play second fiddle here. You need to be making all the profit of all your records. And like, if you're, you can get comfortable under someone else's wing. We all get to blossom. We're so far. I wanted to ask about metal and shit like that.
Anime, but let me just say for
finishing
streaming,
up on anime,
streaming is the reason I know like 80% of my guests.
Really?
Yes, because what happens is
the algorithm.
Back in the day, all right, say I'm into metal and I'm around here. Yeah, you got your little import section, but it's really what the store has.
Yeah.
That's all. Your music taste can only go as far as how much money you have and how much diversity your record store has.
Very fair.
Nowadays, you have that on Spotify. You have that section of artists, like the one you're listening to, and you can go down this rabbit hole. People make playlists, all like get into international stuff, like Brazilian thrash metal I was really into for a while. Yeah. And people made playlists of that. So I was just able to dive into playlists and be like, this band's sick.
And it's also awesome to know, like, down there, like, there's a different genres. Like, my friend, he had a band called the Third Six. It was my guitar teacher, Scott Morano. Shout out Scott. Put me onto a lot of metal I liked. But a band called the Third Six, and he was like, yeah, when I looked at, like, the streams or where things are selling, Brazil. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Brazil's
knowing, like,
huge, man. It still is for like a metal scene, huge.
Yeah, and it's just so cool that like it pops up different places and it kind of like transcends all that. But continue on your
and great bands came out of Brazil too.
Yeah,
but and so that's a great thing, and my music taste has evolved so much in my all the music I know. There's so much of it now because I have unlimited access. And I do think it sucks that they've pretty much been able to just legalize Napster pretty much.
Yeah,
and just steal from artists. But the reason why I have a record collection is like I try to also give back at the same time.
And because you're a good person, you're contributing to that.
Yeah, and a lot of these bands I do listen to also. If streaming didn't exist or YouTube or the internet, their stuff wouldn't exist at all.
Also, you'd be stuck listening to like literally Judas Priest because that's all that one dude at the record store had. You know what I'm saying, or something.
But there's also like the internet and Spotify also has become a bit of an archive.
Yeah,
where there's bands who in 2003 kind of just stop and they never put out an album. They never really put out like any physical media. I mean,
because it costs money to make those CDs and shit, dude.
But they did end up recording a few tracks, so they just throw it on there, and then it gets some traction, and they open for this band, and say a band like Judas Priest says this band in the 70s really inspired us, but they never put out like really any material. So, but their Spotify exists, so fans can dive into them that way.
I totally get that actually, because I couldn't find a Diamond Head CD or anything like that.
Diamond
like,
Head,
dude, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, their stuff's impossible to find.
Oh, exactly. But I totally agree with you in one sense. But I got to say, like, for me, the way I enjoy music is I get kind of mad about Spotify and being able to just put on anything I want. I took the aux cord out of my car, most because it was skipping. But it's also like I like having... It's a CD. I listen to that CD, and I listen to that CD continuously, and it just kind of gets ingrained until I get sick of it. And it's like Earl Sweatshirt said, you're kind of listening to the music and experiencing your life at the same time. So that Slayer CD in my car for that period of time gets associations in my brain. If I ever see that again, I'll remember, I did this podcast, or my brother stole it for 2 years, like shit like that.
Yeah,
that's like
this one specifically, the Slayer one.
Yeah, Undisputed. Attitude.
I'll since it's a gift, I'll do it too. I'll spin it in my car for a few listens.
No, but I'm saying, like, I just like being kind of constrained by that. But I totally understand accessibility and being able to create music is more accessible than it's ever been, arguably. You know what I'm saying? Like, also, when you went to college for radio, like, this was harder to do when you first started out.
Yeah.
With podcasting was like primitive, sort of. Like, what years 100%. Were you in?
In terms of what? When I started like podcasting?
When you went to a radio, like, were they still having a huge mixing room? Was Joe Rogan the biggest guy in the world? Did everyone worship Howard Stern?
With the radio?
Like, when you did the radio shit in college.
Yeah, so I actually I technically started it in high school.
Yeah.
Because there was a radio club, and I got into it because I was super into like Stern.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Stern, and this is like 2015, 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Stern was like kind of still good then.
Yeah. I also never got into him really at all. Like, I never knew anything about him. I think I saw the movie Private Parts. Was that based on his life? It's a good film. Don't get me wrong. It's awesome, but...
I do enjoy it. It's definitely not like fun, like family movie night.
Yeah, and it's also, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and I'm making a movie about my life. I'm going to put myself in a positive light everywhere I look. You know what I'm saying? But
and there's a whole, we can get into Howard Stern because it's like also like his whole shit, how he's like just pretending a lot of the shit he did never happened, and I think is a little BS, and how he's kind of like how he had Kamala Harris on. It was just like glazing her. It's like when did you become like
biased to something. And it's funny because when I don't want to like glaze Joe Rogan, but when Joe Rogan was discussing, he was like, I offered Kamala to be on too, and he said Donald Trump showed up and he was like alone with me in the studio. Kamala wanted 2 handlers and a list of things we couldn't talk about, and then they canceled on me last minute. Oh yeah, it's weird, but it's like, you know what I'm saying, talking about accessibility. But
there is that whole thing with Kamala and like Rogan and Trump, where like the story kept changing with that. So honestly, who the fuck even knows?
Like, and it's also they're trying. I do not want to turn into a political podcast. I do not want to turn into
with
a
Howard Stern, it just became like it just turned into The View.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Where like that's what I was saying with Kamala. It was just all just very stupid fucking, and the stuff that was off the path. Was like, what's your go-to lunch? You know, like the dumbest fucking shit.
No, I definitely early into podcasting it was, what is your McDonald's order? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like, these are surface level, non-offensive questions.
But I, in radio, I had this radio show with a couple friends. And then radio is actually where I discovered metal because I had, we had to be partnered in the radio show, and I partnered with a guy I just met. And he was a big metalhead, and I wasn't really into music.
Yeah.
And then he played like War Pigs by Black Sabbath, and I was like, "What life-changing shit, dude? Was that?" You know. And then, ruined my life.
Here I am now, beautiful long hair.
And and then I went to college for radio, and that's where Disturbing the Priest started. It started on air as a radio show, and then evolved into this podcast.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was sick. I hate radio. I don't like the industry at all.
Yes.
I've worked at corporate radio. I worked at independent radio.
Yeah.
And I hated all of it.
I totally get that.
Yeah. I used to work for an independent station that was a right-wing like news.
Oh God!
And I used to be the director for the Peter Blute show, who was like used to be like a Republican mayor.
Yeah.
Now he just has a radio show.
That's crazy,
dude. The people who would call in at like 5 a.m. like were fucking mental, man. Like people say like liberals and Democrats are crazy, man. The people calling me were fucking tapped, man. Like, I had a guy call me once, and he's like, I'm standing outside. He's like, I'm a war vet. And he's like, I'm standing outside with my uniform, and it's covered in gasoline, and I'm holding the match. Put me on. And I'm like, hold, please.
Like, because literally, I was just, for some reason, the image, you ever see that clip? It's viral. It's like, Raw Time is like that emo girl that was doing the live call-in show. Like, people fixate on that, but no, that right-wing Republican call-in at 5 a.m., dude.
Yeah,
the mind state you have to be in to call into another man and demand to get on the radio.
Yeah, and there was this lady who would call all the time. She was fucking crazy. She was like a cat lady. And she was old, and it was like this was all she had.
Yeah.
And once the station had to call the cops on her because she tried to break into the radio station. It was ridiculous.
Yo.
And then you get people calling, and it's like,
but it
must
like
be borderline kind of racist.
It must be kind of flattering in a way, though, that woman made that radio station her whole life and goal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she just wanted to be inside. It's like the people like trying desperately to meet a rock star for the first time in a show, like, you know what I'm saying, just blowing roadies to get backstage, like all that, like the obsession with it.
Yeah, it's like hilarious. if someone is like stalking me because of like Disturbing the Priest, I'd be freaked out, but I'd be a little flattered. You know, I'd be a little like, oh really?
Like, I'm doing something. You listen to every episode?
Yeah. Exactly, you know. Man, radio sucked, and then I got one of the iHeart cars towed, so that just never worked out. Yeah, I used to, dude. It was so stupid.
They took one of your spots, or
no? So I did street teams, so we'd get in like a van, and of like that would correspond with a station. Mm-hmm. For example, there was the Jammin' van. That's what I got towed. But there was like the Bull Jeep. Yeah. Where it's the Jeep and it has like the bull on the side and stuff. So fucking stupid. Wow. But we had to do a Jammin' pop-up because we would just host the pop-up shows.
Yeah.
So iHeart had us booked at a hookah bar at like 1 a.m. and there was nowhere to park at all. So there was like this empty Walmart lot. So I just said, fuck it. You know, I'm just going to put it there.
And iHeart has haters, so they towed it.
Yeah, after I go out and they fucking towed it. And the company was pissed. Like, we had to go to the tow yard and everything. There was so bad. It's like, yeah, the one that says fucking Jammin' 98.5 on it. That's the one. Not hard
like,
to
and also you'd think
find.
the corporation would keep you safe. You'd think that, I don't want to mess with Jim in 94.5.
Yeah,
I don't want to tow them. But did you ever see Parks and Recreation?
I've seen some episodes.
It was Nick Kroll had a bit where he was the douche. It was like a whole satiring morning radio, and it's just because that's what I thought when you said you hate it. Because I was like, yeah, it's not really a pure form of expression. It's just like, I play funny noises for you on your morning commute because you can't afford an iPhone or a car that has fucking Apple Play or Sirius satellite radio.
Yeah, like zoo radio and stuff. It's morning zoo. I hate that shit too.
Oh yeah.
So I do want to say before we move on.
Okay.
Let me just for anime real quick.
Okay.
Because
we can go deep on anime.
We talked about Evangelion, but I just finished anime. I just want to have the floor for a second.
Go for it.
I just finished Berserk.
Oh God!
It's from 1997. It's from the Golden Age arc.
Yep.
I've never had a show make me dive into the comics right after. Dude. I'm reading. I have an app for manga now.
So fire.
Griffith.
Oh, dude. No, Berserk is one of the best things of all. I did an episode the day the dude that guy died. Yeah,
that ruined me,
nuts.
man. That show. It's free on YouTube. It's a season.
Oh yeah.
It's a shame they didn't make any more episodes of that.
Oh, well, it's also because it was so edgy. Dark Horse does make some of the best manga they're out there. I just read Blade of the Immortals when I finished recently, and it's edgy like that. It's not as good as Berserk. Nothing's really on that
what's
level.
What's it called?
That was called Blade of the Immortal. It was about a samurai who couldn't die.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, he kills thousands of men, then he's like, I'm kind of a bad dude for this. I need to redeem myself, kill 1,000 evil people. And it kind of goes along with that. But it's not so much about him because Immortal Samurai is kind of boring because he's kind of mad he can't be good at... You don't need to be a good samurai if you can't die. You know what I'm saying? They just kind of chop into you and you're like, murder them.
Yeah, that'd be sick, though. You just can't die and you just kill people forever.
Yeah. And then a little later, it got into this really weird arc where they captured him in the prison and they're trying to transfer his immortality to other people. So what they would do is they would cut off his limbs and attach him to other people, and then it would temporarily give them the healing factor.
That's sick.
But there's also a good 50% chance they would just die, or they need the right blood type match. But this is feudal Japan and they don't know all. It's good, and it was a really weird, boring direction. But also I like that they tried to get away from the classic.
I do like that. Though of there's the of taking the limbs and putting it on people. That's really creative and shit.
Awesome.
To that
Yeah.
Like the Deadpool trope of they just can't die, you know?
Yeah.
But dude, Berserk is the shit.
And
I'm reading is it manga or manga?
Manga. I don't even know, actually. It's just like sushi. I just eat it. I don't know anything about it.
I don't care what.
Yeah.
It ends at such a brutal fucking point. Yeah. And there's like so much more to it after.
So Berserk, my first encounter with Berserk was it was called, I don't know if it's still on YouTube, they called it the Supercut. It was about 6 to 8 hours long, and they cut in PlayStation 2 footage of the games they've released in with the like Golden Age like anime and shit like that, dude.
That's sick.
It was so fucking fire. And just the fact that he goes, the real beauty of an epic is it needs to take its time, and he just goes, it's basic medieval combat. They're the best, like, you know what I'm saying, mercenary groups out there. There's nothing fantastic about this. And then when they debut Zod the Immortal, and it's like, that's the first time seeing magic. Yeah. My brain is exploding with serotonin. Like I heard Children of the Grave for the first time or something. Just remembering when I first see, wait, that's a demon. Like, wait, that's not human. Everything in this thing, all the rules of like, oh, this is just medieval, it's cool, da-da-da. And it changes and it's out the window. And then it just expands and expands, and the rabbit hole gets deeper and consumes you. And that is peak media.
It just, exactly. And it's like, you go into it and you're thinking it's just some like just
so you think Griffith
medieval
did things that are wrong?
Oh, Griffith was
You think
definitely...
Griffith's a bad guy?
Yeah, 100%.
He's a bad guy.
100%. And like...
He had a dream.
Yeah.
Man. And he's going for it.
Never fuck with a femboy with a dream.
That twink will do anything to make it.
Yeah, man, that show's... That anime is great. But yeah, I couldn't sleep for like 2 nights after that. Because it ends on such a brutal... Because like the... I want to spoil it, but yeah, it's great.
Berserk is considered one of the best animes and mangas of all time.
Yeah.
I'm caught up. The writer died, but he's got a team of people that know how it's supposed to end.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm not trying to go too far ahead on you either. You know what
I've only gotten to the golden age.
Yeah, the golden age
is the end of the golden age. Yeah. So
just like any anime, they have a boat arc. You're going to learn that if you dive into anime where like they get bored and they go on a boat. And I kind of like it sometimes. You ever watch Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball GT or any of that shit, dude? Oh my god.
That's a whole thing. Like there's so much I haven't... Death Note is another one I'd like to get into.
Hell's Paradise. Really cool one-off, like only like 12 episodes out right now. You know what I'm saying? And so like I like quick open and close ones, but also...
Me too. I'll never watch One Piece.
No,
1,200 episodes.
It's to me, I tried when I was a teenager, and that's the time you're supposed to get into it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, it's just not doing it for me. It's a little too like... Couldn't get into Bleach either. Now I'm going to start hating on animes because I'm allowed to. If you don't know anything about this. Bleach couldn't do it. They remade it. Still not going to fucking do it.
Damn.
I just watched... No, I read all of Monster. Monster is a very cool one. Dude, we're just talking about anime now. It's about a doctor that saves someone that people believe is the Antichrist.
Oh, nice.
Or they think he's like the second coming of Hitler and will like unite people against the world. And so he's a doctor, but then he makes it his life's mission to go back and kill this person he saved. But that person's like super influential, like complete charismatic, just kind of like taking over every room he walks into. So it's that's a long epic, and it's not your conventional like gore porn shit like Berserk. It's more of like a slow burn, like psychological shit. Yeah. So that was pretty good too.
Yeah, that's sick. I want to get into Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
I've heard great things about that.
Yeah, that's actually like a really great one. Chainsaw Man.
Oh, Chainsaw Man.
I know it's like a new one.
Chainsaw Man.
It looks fun. It looks
super
awesome.
good. It's done after 12 volumes. They're making more volumes. I don't need to read anymore. He did it perfectly open closed. And that writer's a cool but weird dude. Like you have a Twitter?
Yeah.
So he has a Twitter, and he said, this is the official Chainsaw Man Twitter, but it's run by my sister. And he doesn't have a sister, so he's just doing it from his like own feminine perspective. Yeah.
With someone making a thing called Chainsaw Man, I expect him to be a fucking
and it's all
tapped.
Dude, it's awesome. Like his first, like it's just a kid that comes from nothing, and his first goal is to touch boobs. Like that's it. It's like nice, wholesome. Like you know what I'm saying. This is a teenage boy. Like you can see exactly where the priorities are in the brain.
Yeah,
and I like when people are forthcoming because, as we just said, art is real. I'm really congested. You got a tissue by any chance?
I can go get Give me
I hate to cut, but
no worries. Just and do
then
some.
Maybe I'll refocus and
give a little monologue real quick.
Oh, a monologue real quick. So when we're talking about good anime, it's like animation doesn't matter. What matters is I'm not going to monologue. It's going to be dead silence for like just a little longer, and then you're going to hear me blowing my nose. And like there are people that are really disgusted by snot. Like my niece, if I blow my nose around her, has to cover her ears. And I too used to be very disgusted by boogers, which is ironic because I was a snot-nosed kid. Unironically, my nose was just always running when I was a child. I had enlarged adenoids, and the enlarged adenoids just made me constantly leaking out of my nose. But I also was so adverse to boogers that like if someone said the word booger around me, I would start dry heaving profusely. It's disgusting, and it's just really ironic and weird. But then they popped out my tonsils and adenoids. It's not that now. I just got some basic post-nasal drip, but I'm not like, you know what I mean?
That was some serious info dumping right there.
Yeah. Well, this is all I do. Like this is in my head all day, and I just say it out loud sometimes. And that was the issue with comedy is I would just premise, no punchline, premise, no punchline, and that's what I've been trying to. You got to give it teeth. You got to make it cut into things. Like
like for me, I really. When I started, I was obsessed with there's a lot of comedy YouTube channels that taught joke structure and people who were quote unquote you know, there was like this guy, the Joke Doctor, and like Greg Dean and stuff.
Yeah.
And he taught like structure and stuff, and
so you're a classically taught comedian.
He classically taught.
No, really.
I'd like to say, like, if I guess, yeah.
Like, because I didn't know shit, dude. I just went up there and thought aphrodisiacs are a funny concept. I'm gonna say something about that.
Yeah.
And then like I just mulled it over in my brain, and it would just be like, oh, it's not actually an aphrodisiac. You just spent $40 on an appetizer, so they think you're rich.
Yeah.
And that's why you're getting blown right now. And like, so I was just trying to find like those little things that make things amusing to me. But well, who are your favorite comedians? And so metal came in high school or college?
High school.
I love
with radio.
Dude, I love metal so much because even like just the name of it implies like a rigid force that could cause you physical harm, but at the same time it's the most beautiful, accepting community I've ever been a part of or seen, like literally. And all of these, like, okay, again, not getting too political, but I'm saying a large amount of the left is trying to perpetuate acceptance and things like that, and all of these like trans rights, human rights, things like that. And metal always had that. Metal always was completely accepting of whatever you're into, and they would build you, like, if you had a band and you played the music, and I'm saying it's more successful in the metal community than when we tried to indoctrinate to the major leagues, because there was a mutual respect with metal, because we all have a common interest. We all have one thing that can unite people. Yeah. And that's what I really think is beautiful about it. But
yeah, man, I agree 100%. And it's like, it's just such a tight community.
Yeah.
Even at the pits, you know, you eat shit, everyone stops and helps you up. Like, it's just, and they're just all nice. I dropped
a phone and they'll hold up the phone, stop the music for 20 minutes until you get your phone back. Dude,
exactly.
It's
and
awesome.
everyone in the merch line is, you know, trying to talk to you, and it's just it's nice, but it's just such a good community.
It's the community that's missing, because we're all kind of shut off and we all listen to it alone on Spotify in our houses now. That's another thing.
No one else.
Also, the most dangerous thing in a mosh pit is someone that is, it's just like golf, it's just like squash, it's just like, I had another example.
These are all written down.
No, it's just thoughts. Snowboarding, golf, and all that shit. The most dangerous thing in a mosh pit is an amateur.
Yeah,
it's someone that doesn't know what's going on. They're like, I'm going up and I'm crowd surfing right now, because that's how you get dropped on your head and fucking die. It's like
shit.
Oh, dude, I remember it was actually at an Odd Future. It's a rap show, but I got dropped on my back, bro, and I think I cracked a rib when I was like 15, and I stopped running and I stopped working out, and then, like, it was a whole trajectory of my life that changed. But what's the best mosh pits you've been in, you would say, or like your favorite shows or experiences?
When I saw Abbott, I got my nose shattered. That was fun. Melvins is a really great band,
dude.
You know Melvins?
No.
It's Buzz Osborne, and Buzz Osborne actually introduced Dave Grohl to Kurt.
Holy shit.
And pretty much is the reason why Nirvana.
Actually, I remember I've heard of the Melvins, because I remember I read Kurt Cobain's thing and like was referencing their band a lot as he was talking about the structure, and he said we need to practice 5 times a week like them and shit like that.
Yeah,
like
Melvins
in his book, it's fucking
unreal,
nuts.
man. I've seen them twice; they're great.
Yeah.
Their pits were just dangerous.
Well, I like
really
the safest pit to me is we're all basically on top of each other and there's no room for anyone to build momentum, because like the more dangerous ones are a little open and it's just people running back and forth crashing into the wall, because like that's how you catch like a beer to the face and like shit goes flying and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man, those pits are amazing. Best pits, I'd say, are thrash metal.
Yeah,
thrash metal are good. I like death metal pits, but thrash metal's where it's at.
Yeah,
that's the fucking.
In terms of like subgenres, like how do you think that there's going to be a time they stop spawning in new subgenres, or like new, like it's so easy to make something new and different, and because
I think it's hard to say, because it's so funny you bring this up, because I just put out a clip on my podcast of when I asked Bobby.
Oh yeah,
I was like, "Do you think
Pentagram's fire?" By the way,
yeah, Pentagram's great, and it's really awesome that people are like discovering them.
No, I remember I watched a documentary on him with my brother. He's the one that got me into metal comedy, all this shit. And we watched a documentary on him. He was just in a basement. I think he was. I don't want to say he's smoking crack, but I think he was smoking crack in the documentary.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have.
He was 100% smoking
in
crack.
This documentary. I was like, wow. And then I heard "Forever My Queen." And I was like, yo, this fucking fucks.
Yeah, man. He's America's Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
But I asked him if can metal still be innovative?
Yeah.
And he's like, it's done. There's no more boundaries to push. And like the only way to really be innovative is like to combine other genres of music.
Yeah.
So as long as there's new genres of music being invented, there's going to be new genres of metal, So that even spawns like a bigger question. When does when are we done making new sounds,
Well, to me, it's beautiful because doom metal just spawned from, I don't know where I read this, but they said it was the beginning of Into the Void by Black Sabbath. It was just that specific opening riff is what everyone that made doom metal just kind of chased and wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Like that one riff spawns an entire genre of music that are like, no, that riff is my identity, bro. This is where you're trying to get that sound, or it's even just the implication of power chords starting rock and roll.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I'm saying? We're going to make it as loud as possible. And it's just like...
Hell yes. I'll argue the first ever doom metal song was Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath.
Love that. That's probably my favorite album by them. It's fucking awesome. NIB, I play bass. I'm really biased towards it. But NIB, basically with the intro, but come with me now and you will not regret. Oh,
great shit goes solo.
So
there's a lot of great geezer stuff in that band.
Crazy fucking riff. It's just so fucking fun. And it's super technical, dude. Like I wasn't good at bass. I took 4 years of lessons, but I was too busy smoking weed and being an idiot to you know what I'm saying? You're supposed to
Sounds
practice.
Like a bassist.
Yeah, you're supposed to practice. But I think the best trick I ever got was I could do the solo for Orion, and I could do that on a guitar. Yeah, Cliff Burton is actually probably the best bass player I've idolized in that kind of thing. Because in terms of just lead bass in metal, there's Lemmy. He was playing with a pick though, and there's also most of the time when you go into deeper into bass, you get into Rage Against the Machine, and that's funk roots, and you're not really a metal bassist anymore.
But a lot of bass there's so much funk in the history of bass, and
but I'm saying
it's so
I love
rooted
Rage
in
Against
that.
the Machine. Some of my favorite bass riffs came from, but it's twangy and they're slapping. You know what I'm saying?
I love Rage. Don't get me wrong, but it's a little too close to nu metal for me.
Yeah,
and I respect. As of recently, I respect nu metal.
Yeah,
or Korn, I respect.
Yes.
But that's as far as I'll go. And I'm not saying Rage is nu metal because they're not at all. They did pretty much start the genre,
like rap rock kind of. It's
because they actually groove riffs and with bars over it. But I fuck with it. I do. But for me, it's I love either just heavy riffs, or just fast, super fucking fast playing.
Now it's hilarious because I talked to a woman recently, Leanne, and she was from the area where Korn came out, and the whole the whole area, everyone had to push the Korn agenda. They were all crazy into porn. See, I just said porn before it's Korn. But I heard System of a Down recently said that all nu metal sucks. And then I was listening to one of their earlier albums, Hypnotize, I think it was, and when you hear their lyrics, it's almost satire. You know what I'm saying? It's you're having fun with it. You can't say it sucks. You're just kind of enjoying yourself.
Pretty much nu metal.
Yeah, they are nu metal, but I fuck with it.
Oh yeah, it is.
That shit.
Jeez.
And also,
Toxicity is one of the greatest. Toxicity, and I will say this, and I feel I don't really have an opinion. I don't have I don't have the right to have an opinion when it comes to nu metal because I don't know enough about the genre.
Yeah.
But I have enough confidence to say Toxicity is the greatest nu metal record.
The peak, of it.
Yeah.
And they're a really good band when they're all in sync together, and it's also it's just a unique sound. And Ariel's, dude, they tuned that bass to B sharp when I tried to learn it.
Really?
That shit's nuts. Yeah.
And the vocals are just so unique, and the lyrics and the writing of the music, and it's just really great.
That actually brings me to another interesting point. How do you feel about Guitar Hero and Rock Band in terms of it was a huge exposure for people because they listened to genres of music they didn't like, and maybe it did inspire people to try and play instruments. I wouldn't say many committed to it, but
Dragon Force can thank their whole fucking career to that.
We've been doing this 50 years, but then we got billions of dollars off of Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock.
Yeah, I remember playing that and breaking my fingers, and got me into classic rock too. I remember at being a kid at the arcade, the bowling alley, and you'd play Slow Ride. On that. That shit was the shit. Guitar Hero, definitely 100% massive influence on just like heavy metal.
Also, I don't know if it's still out there though. I don't think they're still making Guitar Hero. Yeah, but it's so that's just an era that we got to enjoy, like peak video games, Guitar Hero, all like rhythm section games. It's over. It's done.
Yeah, you can. It's like, Guitar Hero, Halo 3. It was college like MW.
Good fucking
Black Ops 1 or whatever.
Yeah, and now the last huzzah was like tap on the iPhone. They had an iPhone fucking rhythm game, and that was like and then they tried to make Rock Band with like a real guitar, and fucking motherfuckers weren't fucking with that at all.
Yeah, man, that was so stupid. I never even figured out how that worked.
Yeah,
because my friend had that, and I was like, wait, wow, what the fuck am I supposed to press? Because I don't know. It's like, then what's the point of doing that? Like it's like you're trying to modernize it by just making it more complicated.
Yeah, no, but when the beauty of it was you simplified music, you simplified playing a guitar so that anyone could do it.
Yeah,
you know
that is true. They took the skill out of it, but that's what made it fun.
Exactly.
Of being like, yo, my friend should pull through. He can play this song on expert.
Yeah,
it's like,
dude,
bullshit.
People would have parties and they'd pull up. They'd be like, "You can do today 100% on expert, dude. You need to see this." The Smashing Pumpkins,
dude. Rock Band was great though, because I had Rock Band 4.
Yeah,
and I had that in all of like college and high school, which was the shit. I
remember. The last video game I got excited about was Brutal Legend. It was like the Johnny Depp video game. You know what I'm talking about, dude? And I got it, and I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed that I just stopped liking it. Like, I still play them, but it's just, there was no, I'm pre-ordering this, I'm excited to get it, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Like, Tenacious D's, do you think they're a valid, good band? Like, do you think it's...
fucking love Tenacious D. I've seen them live. I've listened to every one of their albums. So
the movie's
fucking
awesome
much.
too. I fuck with that heavily.
The movie's great.
Yeah.
That first album though, with Wonder Boy, Tribute, Friendship. Oh god, there's so many. Kyle quit the band. That first album is so amazing.
Yeah, it's just all of, like, it's when people are just, you can feel them alive in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, there's so much joy in the studio there. And I remember when I was in high school during advisory, people would go to the music room, and this one kid could play the metal on guitar, and all like kids would do is make him play the riff for the metal over and over. He's like, "Stop! I don't want to do this anymore. Playing the riff by Tenacious D is not like my life force." But that's what performing is. You give the people what they want.
Yeah, man, you got to give them what they want. And that album too, like that second one's great. But I will say, very underrated. Their third record, Rise of the Phoenix,
really
is so fucking great, man. It's really underrated. The title track's great. They have the Ballad of Hollywood Jack, which has which is a true story about how when Jack blew up and like became like this like, big Hollywood actor, and how KG like kind of just never went anywhere.
And they broke up.
Pretty much.
Recently they broke up. Yeah, dude, because of the whole, like, they were the only ones that cancel culture actually got in the metal community. It's like crazy.
It's just Jack Black is so like he's become The Rock.
Yeah, because I am the poster boy of non-offensive fat white boys. Like, exactly. You know what I'm saying?
And it's like, let's just put him in every movie, and he did it for his own career.
Yeah,
he'll be back.
Like, and I like that he's a goofy guy doing like karate moves. He's very like Chris Pratt was trying to take in that lane, but then he went the Marvel route, and it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
So with a common thing I find in metal music is an appreciation for classical music. Do you have that? Do you
love
enjoy
classical music.
Yeah, oh dude, I like it so much. I think it's the instrumentation. Like, you can just like genuinely enjoy like, oh, they're going crazy on this instrument right now.
Yeah, there's this piece, Holst. His name, it's I'll butcher it, but I know his last name is Holst. And he has this thing called quintata, called The Planets. And there's an album of it, and each track is a different planet, and there's a song called Mars, the Bringer of War, and it is so fucking heavy and awesome,
and it just paints kind of pictures, you know what I'm saying?
It's very visual. It's a very visual art form for music. You know, it's so expressive.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, and I love it because I'm never gonna like. There's not lyrics. I could be like, oh, I can piece together the lyrics and figure out the name. Like I will hear a beautiful classical song on 88.7, and I will never know that. I will never know the title of it. It'll just live in that moment for the rest of my life. Actually, I had a coworker of mine. He's like 70 years old. He told me about. I had a buddy. He said, "Hey, we're going to this concert. I'm gonna get us like 30 beers. It's gonna be a great time, man. Pull up." They all get in his car. They drive like 2 hours. It's a fucking classical concert, like a whole fucking like thing at the park. And then he's like, we beat the shit out of them, and then we sat there and we kind of enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow.
We sat there. He was
like, wait, this is a vibe. I can understand this, but like they were still pissed off because it's like not chicks throwing their bras on stage or anything.
Exactly. Like, classical is fucking the shit. I literally have right there, like Beethoven, like all 9 symphonies.
Yeah, my brother. If you go to a record store, he went to Cheapo Records in Massachusetts, I think.
Nice.
And I was like, you got to get me a record. I'll give you cash. And like, he came back with a Promethean Overture, which is like, you know what I'm saying? And like, that's what I go to sleep to, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I need something passive and not like excitable for that shit.
What's your favorite album of all time? Do you have one? Or favorite artist?
Oh,
dude. What's one in the top 5? It doesn't have to be metal.
Like, what genre do you want?
I don't know.
Dude, No Gods, No Managers by Choking Victim might have made me play bass guitar. You know that? That they turned into Leftover Crack, dude?
Yeah.
The shitty ska band that was 4 crackheads in New York?
Yeah.
Dude,
I prefer Choking Victim,
Choking Victim, 100%. But, like, they had I forget.
Did you say
Infested.
that's your favorite album?
I would say in high school, you could not tell me it wasn't the best album in high school.
That probably
I would say
fucks in high school. I got into it like a few years back.
500 channels, I learned that riff, and it's all that was like the peak for me.
Hell yeah,
and then like I'd play it and people would be like, oh, those are the Blink 182 chords. I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Are they?
Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like it's literally
that's so fun. You ruined that song for me.
Graduation by Kanye West is a perfect album. It has 2 bad songs, but they have seriously good features on it. Graduation by Kanye West.
That's his second.
I'm a big Kanye. What?
That's his first. College Dropout.
College Dropout, Late Registration, and Graduation was the third one.
Okay, so it's like a trilogy.
It's also when he blew up in Asia. It's when he kind of blew up in Japan, and getting into anime, you need to watch Akira.
I've seen Akira,
and
I watched it last week, actually.
Yeah, that was a huge influence on Kanye. If you watch the Stronger music video, you can't find these music videos anymore because MTV doesn't exist.
Yeah,
but that whole thing was him like after his car crash, and it was like them rebuilding him was like all Akira influence, and you know what I'm saying? And that's what popped him off in Asia. And now his daughter makes music, and she's just talking in Japanese because he's like, I don't need to worry about making it big over here. Yeah, she's just saying like a bunch of random phrases in Japanese, 100,000 streams, and that's a good gift to give to your kid. But
that's pretty like Kanye. Like that's interesting. Akira. I saw Akira last week, and I saw Perfect Blue a couple nights ago.
Okay, my other
see Ghost
only
in the
thing
Shell.
I will try and force you to watch. I haven't seen Perfect Blue personally.
Great
Neo
movie.
Tokyo. It's hard to find, but you can steal it anywhere.
What
you know
is
what I'm
it?
saying? Neo Tokyo.
It's a movie?
It's a compilation of like 4 short films. Like you know what I'm saying? And it's very. Like, I'll ruin one of them for you. Okay. Because it's very tongue-in-cheek. There's one where these people are racing. Like, they're racing space cars. Like, you know what I'm saying? Rocket ships around a track really, really fast. And one of them is using telekinesis to blow up the others. And, like, they don't explain this at all. I had to go read, like, a wiki explains on this shit.
Yeah, so like, why are there random explosions?
Yeah, exactly. But the other thing was, so, like, you don't get off the track if you keep winning. So he just keeps going around until he, like, decays and, like, disintegrates in the fucking thing going like whatever speed of light, like you know what I'm saying. That shit's fire. Neo Tokyo is probably my favorite anime movie. What's your favorite album of all time?
It'd
be easier if I talk about vinyl record I have, like you know what I'm saying. Like, it's a much better
for sure
niche.
I love Sabotage by Black Sabbath.
That's a later one. That's an interesting cut.
Yeah, it's like their 5th album. I think that 5th or 6th, maybe, I don't know, but that's probably my favorite. Second favorite, Rust in Peace by Megadeth.
Nice. Have you ever heard of Provoker?
I don't think I have. No.
Provoker's like I don't want to call it a shoegaze band. It's a guy who wanted to make scary movies, but he just kind of started a band instead out in California. They signed to Year 001. It's a Swedish-based label, but the album Demon Compass Bro, that gets more like rotation in my room than like anything else.
Demon Compass.
Demon Compass, and it came with a Choose Your Own Adventure book, like those old school shits. Oh, it's awesome, dude. It's That's like awesome. You like turn to this page. Oh, you got eaten by a flower, like shit like that. Like it's awesome.
Yeah, that's sick.
And they dropped a video game. They got another album coming out in March, and it's like, I love that last album so much. Are they gonna hold up? Is it gonna be as good, or is it gonna? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm happy about the peak, but I'm scared. Like, what if the next one doesn't scratch that same itch? Like, because I heard the single and I was like, this isn't the same. And then I listened to the single 10 times. I was like, okay, it's kind of the same. I can fuck with it, but at the same time, Provoker. They're sick. They're one of my.
I'll check them out, man. Yeah.
Ooh, the Orwells. You know who the Orwells are?
No.
Out of Chicago. They broke up eventually, but like that was another one of my favorite bands of all time. But again, I'm much more lighter than you. The Orwells, I'd say it's more like kind of classic rock kind of shit. But
okay,
yeah,
I could throw another classic rock one. Do you know the Good Rats?
No.
Good Rats. They're kind of an arena rock band that never left the club.
Oh yeah.
They were actually supposed to do a big show at what's that? Madison Square Garden?
Yeah.
With Journey in Boston.
Yeah, opening for that.
But they crossed the label. They crossed an exec.
Boom.
So the label goes, you're never going to fucking see you. Yeah. So they put out this album called Tasty, and I like it more than any of those arena rock albums.
Wow.
More than anything Boston ever put out, anything Journey put out. It's the Good Rats, Tasty. Anyone in New York who's old knows it. But it is fucking, you listen to it, it's like, why was this never just played on the radio to death?
Now, how about...
Because it's in that league. But
exactly.
It's crazy because it goes to show how much power a label has.
Back in the day they had. Or I mean,
for
they
sure.
still do.
Nowadays,
flex that. Yeah.
Nowadays, you can kind of just carve your own path. You don't even arguably need a label. But back in the day, a label can make or break you. If a label didn't want you to succeed, they can easily cut a few strings.
That's an interesting, and I can kind of see a parallel of it. I remember, I forget what fucking comedy movie I was watching. It might have been The Unbookables. It might have been
Unbookables, the Doug Stanhope
or
documentary.
I Need You to Kill, or it could have been another one, but it was Patton Oswalt. They started doing comedy shows at rock clubs. Like they were just basically, it was kind of like David Cross would tour with like bands, but it was Patton Oswalt, and they were interviewing him, and they were like, "You guys are going to like rock clubs, and you're making a living, and this is like a good new way to do it." And he's like, "Yeah, but we're not going to like be big or great or anything because I'm fat." And then he's like, they were like, "But Louis could do it." They were like, he was like, "He's a fat piece of shit too. They're going to pave the way for someone, but not us." And then, and I think what they were alluding to was something like Dane Cook, or like, you know what I'm saying, just like weird crazy energy of like screaming in a rock club.
Yeah, I've done rock clubs. I've opened for bands too.
How is like my brother told me, like, he doesn't do comedy, but he told me, you don't want to open for a band, dude. That's not like, you know what I'm saying? But it's
it's very hit or miss. It's like I opened for a band and it was fucking amazing. I was scheduled to do 30 minutes and I talked them down to 15.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm like, you can't have, I don't care who
music.
I am.
They're waiting for music.
You can't have any comedian open with 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But it went great. People were buying me shots after. I felt like I was a part of the show. It was one of the best feelings ever. But I also understand that, like, if it's like in this little basement and it's like just these super underground bands and it's like all punks in the audience, you're gonna get your head fucking ripped off like in Predator.
Or if it's a comedy show that happens to have a band at it, that's a whole different thing too. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's like a guy on the drum
something
going,
yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
That. I haven't done one of those. I'd love to, but like, where it's like you can have like the band play like a slow jazz beat while you perform. You know?
That seems like a vibe. That'd be a lot better way to do it. But
I'd love that. Yeah.
All right, I heard someone say every comedian wishes they could be a singer. Do you feel that?
Love to be a singer.
Like, would you way rather
sing
like,
at all? Maybe that's not for everyone. Just because like I technically do sing.
Yeah.
Let me just state before I reveal this.
Yes.
I'm a terrible singer. I'm not saying I'm a good singer.
You said it twice now. We got you.
I don't pretend like I'm a good singer. I'm very self-aware.
Yeah.
but I do front a band that has 2 albums on Spotify.
Jimi Hendrix thought he was a bad singer.
Yeah, but he was great. That was the thing.
Well, that's
he
the thing. He said, "I don't want to sing," and they were like, "Nah, you're doing it, bro. We're making you do everything." But
Dave Mustaine's a bad singer, but it works.
Who's a bad singer that's made it to you?
Dave Mustaine, Johnny Rotten.
Johnny Rotten. That's
Sex
comedian?
Pistols.
Oh no, I'm sorry, the comedian Johnny Rotten.
Do you not know? Do you only know
I know the
comedian?
Sex. I know the Sex Pistols as a concept. I'm not.
Okay, so this is hilarious because there's this fucking comic named Johnny Rotten, which is so ridiculous because one of the most famous punk frontmen in the world is named Johnny Rotten.
I will say
I did his roast.
Yep.
I was on Johnny Rotten's
Yes.
roast. He's this fucking Rhode Island comedian. And one of my roasts is like, I'm like, why the fuck is your name Johnny Rotten?
Yeah.
That's like if my stage name was Ozzy Osbourne,
exactly.
you know? Like, what are we doing? Like, how is ridiculous? And I think that's hilarious that you're like,
my
oh, the
gosh.
comic?
Yeah, no, the guy at the Kinsman, because I have one memory of Johnny. I have one Johnny Rotten story about the comedian, not the fucking leader of the Sex Pistols. And it was, I got on stage, I was like, I had to take a piss in that bathroom. Who fucking stunk that shit? Johnny Rotten's like, you got right.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh
yeah,
my
he's
God,
fucked,
I'm
man.
gagging remembering that
But
shit,
yeah, I have
dude.
this band. It's you can look it up. It's called
Yep.
Nuclear Funeral. It's on. I have songs about frogs and tadpoles. It's fucking retarded.
That's fucking fire, dog.
Yeah, Nuclear Funeral. That information will only exist on this podcast.
But no, I'm gonna plug the shit out of it. You're gonna make it big. You didn't know that this is actually.
I'm not trying
I gotta
to make
do
it
logo. I gotta do logo. We're taking off. This is gonna be the one.
Yeah, we got a 5th listener.
Oh, yeah.
We're upgrading from
I
a
got
toaster.
13 downloads from the Brian
yeah.
Wade podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, that was-
13 downloads.
What's the? Well, I don't want to like. What's the most downloads you've
we've
got on a
obviously
podcast?
gotten a jump in quality here.
Oh yeah. What's the most downloads you've gotten on a podcast?
I had. I'll try to be humble.
It's okay. I'll tell you mine easy because it's low.
For YouTube
No, I mean like on the hosting site it
on
says
Anchor.
mine's BuzzFeed
Do you use BuzzFeed
or Buzzsprout.
Buzzsprout?
Yeah, that's my
Interesting.
hosting thing I use. Shout
I
out
don't know.
Buzzsprout.
I think I've gotten
sponsor me.
like
I've given you $20 a fucking month for like 3 years now.
damn, really?
Oh,
dude,
you have
use
to pay to
Anchor.
host your shit.
Anchor's free, and it puts it on everything.
Damn.
All right.
The more you know.
Yeah. You might have to do a soft reboot of the podcast. Dude, Anchor's free and it's the shit. It's the best. It's industry standard. It's
Yep.
free. It's most I think was 3K
Like downloads or views?
downloads.
Yeah, downloads. My most was 86.
86. Nice.
Yeah, that's
nice.
pretty good.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah, I think it was Zagwop Kid. He was a rapper with a bunch of followers. So you know what I'm saying?
nice.
That was cool. He also went to jail and came out a couple times. So like that boosts it.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Everyone's
yeah.
like, yo, listen to his interview.
Yeah,
Free my boy. You miss
Yeah.
him. Listen to this.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
post lockup interview.
Exactly.
On YouTube though, 53K or 53K.
Yeah.
Which I'll take.
You're remarkably humble for like the massive success.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it massive success. You know,
You said you
like
don't want to
enough.
make it big. Do you want to like?
Well, for Nuclear Funeral, for comedy,
I want to be the
comedy,
biggest
I'd
comic
love
in the
to.
world, and I
Yeah.
want them to maybe buy my like. Ironically, selling your music CD at your comedy show would be fucking awesome.
I really desperately want to perform more as a comedian.
Yeah.
The podcast is fun.
Yeah.
I kind of see it as a hobby, honestly.
That's literally that's how we have to see it to cope.
Episodes come out every week, every Friday, and it's fun, and I enjoy it. And I do get success, and I do get booked off it sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, and I've been recognized.
No shit, you've been recognized as crazy.
And it was when my podcast was way smaller, which is crazy.
It's also well, like I said, you're in your niche and you're in a community that you like, kind of, you know what I'm saying. You're
and
privy
it's
to.
super. Some of the bands I have on are super niche, like German thrash metal.
Yeah.
from the like late 80s.
Yeah, it's fucking
like a
awesome.
handful of people.
Yeah,
know.
but so how do you get these guests? Like, because you said most of it through Spotify.
I just hit up their manager. I just email their manager.
Yeah, because I went to a show. It was Father and Wytry, Whytri, not how you would think you would spell it. It was like a rapper. I'm a huge Father fan, really like big fan.
Nice.
So I show up to it, and they're like, "There's 25 people at this show. What's up? Why are you here?" And I was like, "Oh, cool. I'm a huge Father fan." And he was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Went backstage. He came back with the posters, and Father signed it. You know what I'm saying? And I countered with I went to my car, got a coffee mug, gave the club guy a coffee mug, being like, "Yo, here, thank you for that. I appreciate it." He was like, "I can give this to Father if you want." I was like, "Nah, but tell him like I would give him an undisclosed amount of money to do an interview right now." And he said, "No, I'm not doing podcasts because I'm drunk as fuck, but you can go meet him." And so, but that's basically what sick. I do is I show up and try and
you're doing the Nardward thing where it's like just go up and ask. I hate, like I only do shit on Zoom.
Yeah.
And I just hate that, man. Like I respect
being in person with
what
people?
you're doing.
Yeah.
But like the kind of like budging in and trying to get, but that's what you have to do.
It feels intrusive. Like,
and
you know what I'm saying? It's annoying.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
And then it's a good thing to do that.
Yeah. Or it's also like, of course, like, and it's not like I'm talking to many big people, you know what I'm saying? That's a old logo.
This is merch.
Yeah, dude.
You gave me a mug that's merch. That's sick.
No, yeah. My mom made that logo in PowerPoint. I drew the one on the front, and it but the new one is actually just a blimp that says, "Is that you talking?" on it.
That's hilarious.
That's the V2. We got a V3s are on the way. It'll be here the 31st.
That is awesome, man.
Oh yeah. And do you have merch for your band and/or comedy or podcast or anything?
I have no merch whatsoever.
Yeah.
I do have. There's this. I have. I use this website where you can just make free shirts and shit. I do have like Disturbing the Priest shirts on there. I get $2 every time someone orders one.
That's awesome though. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to make like weird things that like people would use in their day because I have 75 t-shirts and I wear 10 of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't want to become a pile, but if someone brings tea, no, really, like, how many t-shirts do you want? Like, it's like crazy, like, because I'm like, oh, it's a cool shirt, but it's like, I'm wearing it to.
You gotta get a pod track, man. This thing that we're using right now, it's just plug in, put the SD card in, hit record, and like we're.
Oh shit! I could have used my own SD in this.
Yeah.
I probably should have.
Oh yeah, did you bring an SD?
I brought the camera with the SD in it. I don't have a way to transport it, but it's okay.
I don't know. Maybe it might.
Dude,
let's just pretend
airdrop it.
The SD card didn't work. What I was gonna do is yours.
Yeah.
What I was gonna do is just Gmail.
Yeah, that's fine.
Audio.
That will work. And now they're seeing how the sausage is made, so it's even better.
Yeah, a little behind the scenes of how the production of the podcast.
When you want to start a podcast with this many listeners,
PodTrack is so we're talking about my podcast. This is what I use. PodTrack. It's a little thing I just bring everywhere. Yeah, and it's
how do you feel about the
easy.
Misfits and how they kind of spiral? Like, do you think they got better or worse after Danzig left?
Worse,
exactly.
Yeah, those classic ones are amazing. Yeah, man.
There's one good song after Danzig left. I think Saturday Night's like their only good song without it. That's a fucking banger.
That's a banger.
But I like that. Like, so he said, "You guys aren't heavy enough. You don't want to go heavy with me. I'm doing my own thing," which totally respect the fuck out of that. Also, one of the few people that had a video of him getting knocked out in the early 90s. Like, they had a video of him getting punched in the head and being knocked out. Which, like, to think of how many of those we see in this day and age, as opposed to like back then, if they had that footage and it went viral, like,
that would have blown up. That would have been all over social media.
Knocked out publicly.
Were you ever a fan of? Do you fuck with like Dead Kennedys at all?
Saturday Night Holocaust is one of my favorite songs.
That's such a deep cut.
The thing is, like I said, my brother put me on to punk rock, metal, and comedy, and so I heard Doug Stanhope's Before Turning the Gun on Yourself.
Yeah.
Give Me Convenience or Give Me Death, I think.
That's their comp.
And I played bass, which was... So dun dun dun.
Yeah, that's a crazy.
People. Locked in cattle cars. That shit drops hard, dude.
Yeah,
I got a little too excited. But
what's he get? He's like, tastes a little strange. I love that song so much, man. That's a great one. A lot of great bass in that band.
Oh yeah, like they're an awesome band, and also. I think they did Nazi Punks Fuck Off, which again, like, everyone's pushing that agenda right now, calling the current people fascists and Nazis, and people were hating on Nazis way back in the 80s.
Yeah, Jello put something out called Nazi Trump's fuck off. So
yeah, you see, it's a kind of rebrand. Dude, their logos and everything they did was just so fucking fire, though. Like the Dead Kennedys, in terms of like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, their albums, their album covers, and Jello was big on that. He said album covers are extremely important when it comes to a band.
Yep.
And I agree 100%, because his whole thing was, I want to make an album where someone's flipping through records and they see the cover and they go, what the fuck is that, man?
Dude. And that's what I hate about streaming services, because it used to be, I go to a record store, I don't know shit about what I'm looking through. I don't know all these bands. I do, and then I laugh. I see a picture and I'm like, what the fuck? Or you know what I'm saying? Where I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And that is the magical little moment of intrigue and novelty that we, you know what I'm saying? Even if you have a good conversation with someone where you're like, the moment you're like, oh, yeah, I fuck with you, actually. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the moment of intrigue is what we live for, because that's what makes me feel alive personally.
I love that. That's how I got into them. That's how I got into King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, actually. Dude. Because I saw an album cover of theirs and I'm like, all right, I got to
They're very big, actually. Well, actually, I got big into them where I think it was either an album or a song. It was There's No Planet 3 or something like that.
Yeah, there's no Planet B. Yeah,
no
that's
Planet B.
That's off Rat's Nest. That's their thrash metal album. You're talking to the they are my autistic fixation.
Yeah, I got
they
maybe
have 27 albums.
I've got 2 to 3. I've got one that was like songs to kill bad people by, or something. Songs to kill terrible people by, or something like
isn't that like a demo album?
Yeah, it was like a weird one. It's an awesome cover. Like that's the other thing that got me about it.
Yeah, that's a great cover.
And so, do you believe? So, do they go strictly thrash, or do they kind of bounce between genres?
Dude, every album was different. They have a rap album.
Awesome. What the
They
fuck?
have a thrash metal album. They have a prog metal album. They have a psych album.
How do you feel? How do you feel about bands that have like one good song in their whole career? Like, you know, Trapped, TRAPT.
No.
Like Headstrong, I'll take you one.
Oh
Headstrong.
yeah.
Well, that's also that's not your
like
niche
I know
metal.
I know. Yeah. But like Gangnam Style.
Yeah, like true one hit wonders. And like, do you think
Blurred
that
lines.
if you had that, would you keep tracing the dragon, or would you just be like, okay, we're just touring this one song for the rest of our life?
Well, you got to do what. Who's the guy who does the song American Pie? Don McLean or whatever.
Died a few years back.
He opens and ends the concert with American Pie.
Yeah, because his concert's 7 minutes,
and he does like 20-minute versions of each one.
Oh yeah,
you got to just milk it.
He had another good song called.
It's an easy way to make a living.
I liked one he did called Vincent, about Vincent Van Gogh. It was very weird.
Really?
It's like emotional, but he's also American Pie is probably one of the best classic rock songs of all time.
Yeah, that's a classic. Yeah. I'm into a lot of classic rock. I like a lot of 60s rock.
Oh, I forgot my Danzig bit I wanted to ask. So, like, how do you feel that, like, so they had to re-release their main hit, Mother, with a new music video, and do you know why Danzig blew up?
Why?
Beavis and Butthead. Like, Mike Judge put on Glenn Danzig, and it's the craziest thing in the world to me.
That's amazing.
Like, they re-released it because they did a friend of mine wants to do. I should dox his idea, like reactions. Reactions to music videos. And it was just like the fact
for
he
this
was
podcast.
No, for his own thing. And God, now the Wire has it. They're going to run away with it, but it's okay. My bro's not going to listen to this podcast anyway, so he won't know that they got it from me.
Yeah.
But oh, dude,
that's so funny. I love. I literally got the box set of Beavis and Butthead right there.
Their movie too, everything. Honestly,
dude, their new movie's great.
No shit.
What's it called? Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe.
That's awesome.
Really good.
I remember
they do like the multiverse shit.
Oh yeah.
And like on paper I'm like, oh, that sounds awful. Yeah. It's really, really fucking funny.
Yeah, dude.
Very quotable.
They tried to recreate the show or like re-release a new season of the show, I remember, and it maybe got like 3 episodes out. And they were making fun of Twilight, bro. And it was the funniest fucking shit. Yeah, that was
like the 2017 era of when they came back for a little bit. That shit was fun. I love that. That was
awesome because they find this homeless dude that's like got rabies or something. They're like, we want to be vampires so we could get rabies. Yeah. And he's like, wait, where's this homeless guy's bitches? Probably doing his bidding. Don't think about it. Like, it's so fucking good,
yeah,
dude.
Don't they get bit? And they're like, we're turning it, and they're like dying, and they're like, we're turning into vampires.
Or let's see, my favorite moment, and I think all of Beavis and Butthead though, was they go to the gas station to get beer. They accidentally grab non-alcoholic beer, so the guy sells it to them anyway. So they're drinking them in the parking lot. Then the cops come up and arrest them for being drunk off non-alcoholic. Oh, dude.
Yeah, there's so many great. I couldn't even tell you. I'll tell you a really good one because they just did a new season.
Yep.
And the new season's really fucking funny.
Oh, wait.
There was an episode where they do an escape room.
Yeah.
And they accidentally don't go into instead of going into the escape room, they accidentally go into the bathroom.
Yeah.
So they think the bathroom is the escape room.
Uh-huh.
So they like destroy the entire bathroom trying to get out of it. And they end up like crawling through the
simple because it's like real
so
idiocy,
funny,
dude.
Like it's just like Mike Judge is amazing, and then there's a new season of King of the Hill coming out, which I'm excited for.
I never got too deep into it, but
yeah, it's something I'd like to get into. I never really watched King of the Hill all too much.
Fortnite.
Oh, are they?
Hank Hill.
That's
propane,
amazing.
Propane accessories.
My favorite Mike Judge film, though, without a doubt, like his best gift to humanity.
Maybe because I work a shitty corporate job now. Can you guess?
Yeah.
Office Space.
Office Space.
Oh my god,
That's a
dude.
great movie.
It's the most, like, literally, I remember watching that as a teenager and just, like, changing my life. Like, it became a comfort autistic, like, film that I watched over and over and over.
Yeah.
Because just, like, so many moments, and then or, like, hearing Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster, or,
Yeah, that's a great scene.
or when they beat the fuck out of the fax machine.
That's
die,
great.
motherfucker, die, motherfucker, die.
Yeah. And isn't that shot in like a fishbowl lens or something?
Yeah,
like that's so funny, man.
You gotta pull the other guy off. And then I remember I was like, where did all this rap music come from? And then he goes on Joe Rogan with, like, I forget who, but he's like, yeah, I was in Houston, I just met all these rappers, like the Ghetto Boys and shit like that. And it's just like, and just being ingrained in the community and letting it affect you is like, oh, it's awesome.
Is that is Beavis and Butthead your favorite adult cartoon?
No.
Is it South Park?
Nah, I couldn't, like, South Park was awesome, don't get me wrong. And the episode where Kenny is, like, flying through space because he's high on fucking cat piss or some shit like that.
Yeah, cheesing. That's like that actually I think is my favorite episode.
Yeah, that's literally like the most.
Have you seen the movie Heavy Metal?
No.
It's what that episode is based off.
Damn.
There's a movie called Heavy Metal where it's just like an anthology movie where it's a bunch of just these weird, like, these comic book stories of like these people, and they, like, crazy things happen, like there's zombies in one, but they all have the same thing in common where it's just super sexual.
Oh yeah, just like that South Park episode also is, like, you know what I'm saying?
But that is literally from the movie. Like, it's animated the same. It's all from that movie. That's why I love that episode so much, because it's just funny.
And it's also
how like they go into the movie.
So back then, if you get into, like, early fantasy movies, like there was one called, like, Sorceresses, or, like, you know, like corny Sword and Shield kind of shit, like
Crawl. There's a bunch of
it's like stuff like that where it's just like there's two hot girls and they're topless. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what these weirdos are selling, because that's probably, like, the furthest base they got to.
Because that's what nerds want to see, you know, because they can't get them in real life.
And then Bill Hicks is bitching about how he can't write good television without tit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, oh, how do I get this movie made? It needs some more tit.
Yeah.
A favorite adult animation. I love The Simpsons were an autistic fixation, but also that's not really adult animation. Futurama was a little bit of a level up of that for me.
Futurama's great.
I wasn't crazy into it. Disenchanted was his most recent one. That was pretty good, actually.
The first season
Only the first season. Also, huge Eric Andre fan, so I just fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck, I was a big sitcom person, actually.
I love Seinfeld.
Fucking George Lopez show.
That's a I was sick.
That's a weird one.
Thing,
it's a fever dream. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you watch it while you're sick.
Yeah.
That's the only time I ever watched it, which is, like, bad, because every time I hear his voice, I, like, get freaked out, and I get, like, flashbacks of, like, I don't know. It's weird. I get that association with George Lopez now, where when I hear his voice, I get I get, like, dizzy, and I have, like, these weird visions.
The sickness has returned.
Yeah.
It's like a nuclear reactor. The closer you get to George Lopez, the more it, like, oh, dude, he's actually crazy. I mean, I don't know if it was. I love George Lopez, but I think Daniel Tosh did like a serious roast about him where he was like, did you know George Lopez married a woman so that she would give him her kidney, then divorced her so he could do more coke and fuck hookers? And it was like,
is that true?
I don't know,
because I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
What?
He seems like the kind of guy who would do that.
Dude, I read his book called Why Are You Crying, and he had a rough upbringing of like walking in and seeing his mom be a stripper and like shit like that.
Damn.
Like, it's crazy. And I mean,
and he's like, one day I'm going to be in Blue Beetle.
all right, top 3 comedians you would want to meet.
Top 3 comedians.
Yeah.
Number 1 is Bill Hicks, easily.
There we go.
Bill Hicks is the man. I think Sane Man is the greatest comedy special ever made.
Yes.
Bill Hicks, his death was poetic. It's hard to not talk about Bill Hicks and sound pretentious. But,
Yeah, it's like...
But I think he is an underrated comic. I think he truly is.
Well, he's the perfect level of like not a deep cut, but as soon as you sink your teeth in a comedy and you're trying to find where'd all this stuff come from, you see him and his influence like going everywhere.
It's proto Doug Stanhope.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it is. And I love Hicks, and also amazing joke writer.
Oh,
like
yeah,
when you put the politics and stuff aside, you know, amazing joke writer. Bill Hicks is probably my biggest inspiration. He has jokes that are like so fucking good misdirections. The waffle waitress one.
Oh yeah.
Where that's good. Another good misdirection one was, this is one I might, I'm gonna try to remember it. Where he's like he's in LA and there's this homeless guy.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like and some homeless guy's trying to get him get his money. He's like, fucking. You know, he has this bit where he starts it out where he's like, here's my take on the homeless. Fuck the homeless. He's like, that's a new one. That's a slogan we haven't heard yet.
Yeah.
Fuck the homeless.
Them. Yeah.
And then he has this thing where he's like, some homeless guy, you know, tries to get ask for money. I'm like, the nerve.
Yeah.
The nerve to ask me for money, you know.
That I worked hard to earn. Or
that you know, that my dad worked so hard to earn. It was something like that. It was just such a good misdirection.
Yep.
Like, he has so many of those, man.
Yeah, there's someone
great.
that had a good bit about the audacity of homeless people in Rhode Island because they'll ask you for $20 as opposed to $1 to $5. It's like the homeless people in Rhode Island, actually, they had a little too many people tell them they were special growing up. You know what I'm saying? They still have the feeling that you're gonna give me a whole $20 to go and get high with.
Oh my god, who was that?
I forget.
Was it a local guy?
I think so. I probably heard it. It could have been. No, I don't think it was me. That's a deep fear of mine, is that I'm going to regurgitate someone else's bit. Like if I hear a bit and I think it's good, and I'm going to accidentally steal it, but.
Yeah, you're gonna go on stage. You're like, there's 7 words you can't say
on television.
I realized that.
So is George Carlin one of your 3?
I like Carlin. I want to say he's a 3. I'd say
I couldn't get into him.
I love Carlin. Don't get me wrong. I love Carlin.
Also, in terms of vinyl record collection, for some reason, everyone in the world has class clowned by George Carlin on vinyl.
Yeah, that's one you see at every record store too. Louis C.K., I gotta say,
amen.
He's just an amazing joke writer, and if we're talking comedy, he's just one of the greatest. Boston guy. And for third, it's such a mix because I love Stanhope.
Yeah,
I love Mark Maron. I really like Renan Hirschberg.
Haven't heard of that guy at all. Renan Hirschberg. That is a name.
Renan Hirschberg. He's like a newer comic.
Oh yeah,
he's a New York guy, and his joke writing is so fucking good, man. He has such great. I saw him at Duck Duck Goofs, and he was just so good, man. I really hope he gets the
big, you know what I'm saying?
Because I think he's better than Joe List and all these people. And I love Joe List and all these New York guys.
And you appreciate them, but also it's hard to get to the top of that lake. You know what I'm saying? Because
and Joe List 100% deserves his success and has great bits and specials, and I love his comedy.
Yeah.
But the fact that Renan is as low, to him as he is, and doesn't just does very small comedy clubs is so tragic, man.
I mean, some people just want that. You know what I'm saying? Some people
man,
would.
I loved it.
Yeah,
when I saw Renan,
and
I was in like Duck Goofs, and it's this super tight space, and there was only 30 of us.
Yeah,
it was awesome. It was absolutely incredible, and I'm like, oh, this is the best place to ever see comedy.
Exactly,
because it's like the Doug Stanhope bit.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be 100,000 people in Madison Square Garden like
it's supposed to be a low ceiling, smoky room, tight space,
drunk.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Alcohol's flowing, all that shit. And it's intimacy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, man, I love those guys and Hicks especially. Mm-hmm. I watch Sane Man like once a week at least.
Yeah, it's just you know what I'm saying? It's a quick like, factory reset,
and it's like an hour and like a half. Yeah. It's a long special, but it's crazy because he goes to L.A. to make it and then doesn't. And then he comes back and he just quit. He just went straight edge pretty much. And he's doing mushrooms and shit, but he's like he's not drinking anymore.
You know, like awoken sober. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I took some Adderall an Adderall to get to and from New York in a day. All right, man. Like I'm sober within reason. I
didn't break up a family.
You know what I'm saying?
But he comes back and I guess Sacred Cow Productions or whatever like approaches him and is like, yo, like, you're sober, you're back here in Houston, how about we got the equipment, how about you just film a special? You know, you were already on the Dangerfield thing, you were already on TV, you have, you know,
you've got all the experience,
you're touring clubs, you know, just put out. So he did all his material, and it is so fucking kick-ass.
Yeah.
And what's great about it is, like, at about the hour mark, he has such a great mental breakdown on stage. And he starts walking the audience, and it's so amazing, man. Where he's on a stool pretending to, like, shit out Oprah Winfrey out of his asshole. And
holy fuck.
And people are leaving, and he's in the middle of being in a microphone going... And in the middle of farting, he stops and he turns and he goes, "Good night, folks." And then he goes back into the farting noise, and it is so it's so funny. It's so funny
to never give up on a room, to start having fun yourself.
Yeah, just like, okay, the bits I think they're gonna like aren't working now. I'm gonna just do fucking bullshit that I didn't think was ever gonna work, and that's where the magic is.
Yeah, man.
I like Steve Martin a lot. Like
Steve's great.
You know, his OG shit. Like, we forget about it because he made fucking Cheaper by the Dozen and all this other bullshit. But his early comedy, I have a lot of his vinyls. It's again cheap vinyls you can find. Is fucking sick.
Yeah, Dollar Records.
Speaking of David Cross, I like him a lot. It's weird that he like started in Atlanta and didn't find his stride till, like you said, they go to LA to make it, and LA just ate that dude up. They love David Cross, and he's fucking funny.
He's great.
My favorite bit that I can't get over is like when you're out with your friends drinking at a bar or something like that. When the waitress comes and asks you for some shit, just preface whatever you say with the fastest, yeah, bitch, I want. It's like, yeah, bitch, I'd like the Merlot, but I kind of want a Chardonnay. It's like, say, yeah, bitch.
Yeah.
And because it's just like, I don't know what it is. It just kind of like grows on you. And he's like, we've gotten to 4. And when they catch you, you got to tip like a motherfucker.
Yeah. That's amazing. I have to piss. So bad.
Go for it. I saw that happen. We can cut it here, man. We did a good like hour and 40 minutes.
Oh, shit. Really?
Yeah. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing it.
An absolute
Disturbing
honor.
the Priest podcast.
Yeah.
What's the band name? Nuclear Annihilation?
Nuclear Funeral.
Nuclear Funeral. Listen to his band about tadpoles. And don't tell my boss I talked about my job. Good night.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. I appreciate it. I got to piss too, so go get that done.
De presentarles a Mujeres Tuna, una artista maravillosa.
Low on love, high on drugs. I'm trying to explain me, you trying to add on us. Never really know when enough is enough. I can tell by the boost I'm out of the club. I don't got a nice way to say this. Got love for you, but I'm not in love. It's cool, you could say that we dating. We spend our weekends at the days in. On a abandoned penthouse views. You play games and end up in the lose-lose. Made my choice, you still saying choose. Told you I was the one, never said it was with you. Said you don't need nobody. I gotta take trips, don't get to tripping. A bigger picture and you won't always be in it. Just like the pictures that I post and you